Hello, my name is Mercury, and welcome to this brand new episode of Media Fae. Today, I am alone, and today I'll be discussing Murder Drones. I almost said the trailer for. No, just Murder Drones, the third glitch series, and the first one to be produced by an outside creator. It's outside from Glitch themselves, and this one being Liam Vickers, probably known for, I think it's called Introspective Cube or something like that. Oh, anyways, yeah. So I don't know if you guys. I think I mentioned this before, but like this episode, a lot of Amiga Zoomers is ending. Not forever. I know Amiga Zoomers wasn't really our most popular thing, but definitely not forever. But for a while, I will not be doing Amiga Consumers. That is for certain not gonna happen. And I was gonna do one. I was gonna do some for this month, but I decided to just cancel them all and instead focus on doing some other episodes. And turns out that these episodes, the episode of Murder and another episode that's coming out that's also replacing Amiga Consumers, the episode on Beetlejuice, will be coming out. They replaced that. They were coming out in December, and and there's some other episodes. And I said to actually take those episodes and move them forward because they were only me. They were just me. I don't know if you guys know this, or I think I mentioned this before, but we have a private Discord server where I announce episodes to our members, and they get to vote on which ones they want to appear in. And just happens that those episodes that the Murder Drones one and the Beetlejuice one, I was just alone and I had to move them forward to here because there would be no harm. And the episodes that came out afterwards are episodes that I actually haven't announced to our members yet or to the public. So, I am very excited to really get those on the way. But now we're talking about Murder Drones. And that's really, I think, all I have to say about that. So, get straight right into it. I have been a very big fan of Glitch ever since Meta Runner. Meta Runner is, I think, my favorite show of all time. And Glitch had a lot of things to like. Glitch had some big shoes to fill. Not at this point particularly, but definitely after 2022 and after the second episode of Murder Drones. The pilot for this series, it aired, I think, right after Sunset Paradise ended, which was Glitch's second and latest series to be completely and utterly and just completely made by them, not really tethered to any other creators or anything. I know that they are that they are doing another series. So currently they have Meta Runner and Sunset Paradise. Those are the only ones that are currently made by are currently only made by them. But then they also have another one called Gaslight District coming up, which we don't know when it's coming out, but it's coming out soon, and that is going to be heralded by Nick Skopko, and and Murder Drones. And Murder Drones was the first one. Then came Amazing Digital Circus, which I have no idea when the Amazing Digital Circus will end, but we will also be covering that soon. And then Gaslight District, which they are not being, and those ones aren't being held yet. So Sunset Paradise was the last one to come out that was fully made by them. So some big shoes to fill. This the series had. It was gonna Sons of Paradise never took off as much as Matter Runner did, even like or Murder Drones did. Murder Drones was at the time of its pilot releasing Glitch's biggest production, but that was and has since been majorly dethroned by Amazing Little Circus. That's for damn sure. But uh, there is. I'm just gonna say this right now about Amazing Little Circus. I thought it was gonna flop. Yeah, I'll sit right here and there. Now that we have we're 3 episodes in, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how many episodes Amazing Little Circus will have. I think no wait. Gooseworks did mention that that there were gonna be 9 episodes because because they were going into because like what was it, like Gooseworks said that there were like 9 episodes and there were gonna be like surprises and all that, so I'm guessing that there's not at least 9 episodes. So I mean, we'll see how it goes. Episodes for Amazing Little Circus are releasing a lot quicker than Murder Ghost episodes. At least it feels like it. I guess not, because the second episode for Amazing Little Circus did come out in May and the series did officially release in October. Like the first episode released in October, and then the third episode also released in October. So like there's been. So I'm guessing that maybe that's gonna be the thing. We're getting 2 episodes per year, which, I mean, that's a lot of years. That's a lot of things. And there's gonna be 9 episodes. So like, I don't think it's gonna run for that long, because that means that like it's gonna run until 2027. And I don't think it's gonna happen. I know Murder Jones ran until from 2021 to 2024. That I know. That was 3 years. God, it's been fucking 3 years since Murder Jones started. What the fuck? Really? I mean, not exactly 3 years, but 3 years. God damn. I mean, we did have to wait a year for the second episode to come out, but still. I think the thing is with with Murder Jones is that Murder Jones released kind of weirdly. I would call it. So of course we had the pilot, but then they started making like the actual episodes, and we had 4 episodes in 2023. Then it was the production heavily slowed down for episode 7 and 8, especially for 8. I'll talk about it later. I realized I'm talking about Murder Drones, but yeah. So we'll see when we'll actually get to review Amazing Joe Circus. That's gonna be not very soon, but definitely in the pipeline. Hopefully we're not fucking 6 feet under when that happens. But yeah. So Murder Jones had a lot. Again, like I said, I was gonna say Murder Jones had a lot to carry. And after Meta Runner, because Meta Runner had just won. Meta Runner finished the second season, which definitely had the biggest cliffhanger out of the 3, mainly because season 3 couldn't end on a cliffhanger. Kevin finally had to fucking stop doing that. But yeah. And so the Paradise had also officially ended. And also Murder Jones, sure, it started off after the end of Meta Runner season 2, but but also when it actually began sort of airing and really being the focus of Glitch, that was after season 3 ended. Murder Drones was definitely posed to be as the next big thing on Glitch's raid on Glitch's like arsenal. I mentioned the circus was obviously gonna be a thing, but like I mentioned, I thought I was gonna bomb. I did not think that this would even be like a possibility. So yeah, that I think that's all. Yeah, just so Murder had a lot to carry, for me at least. I thought that Murder had a lot to carry, and I wanted to see where it went. And when it did, it definitely went somewhere. Um, I'm gonna get into my gripes of the series, and obviously I like Murder Drones. I do, but it was definitely confusing. I'm gonna get into it for some first of all, but also some more background. I guess I know I've been talking about this fucking for too long for actually getting to the episode, but I had to rewatch Murder Drones, and that's something that I don't do usually. I don't rewatch. I don't like you couldn't get me to rewatch most things. I don't think. It's usually after having a very long period of not watching that thing that I'm like, okay, maybe a rewatch is necessary. But I am usually not the person to rewatch anything. Like a movie, I'm doing it for the DC movies. That's because the DC movies I've never I've watched them once, and that was a year ago. I'm like, I'm not doing this again. Like I'm not going off of pure memory. The Marvel episode was probably like a indication of that, but I had notes for that. Like these DC movies, I didn't have notes for. Like the Blue Beetle movie was before I did the notes thing. Like, all those movies were before I did the notes thing, and I never watched Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom until after it came out on Max, and that was legitimately like a week ago that I watched it. So yeah, I don't rewatch things, and I had to rewatch Murder Drones because when I was getting to around to wanting to do this episode, and it was around to getting finished, and I knew I wanted to do this. This was the thing that we were gonna do. I realized that I did not understand a single fucking thing about the show. I was completely lost. People were I went on the Reddit on a subreddit for Glitch or Murder, I forgot which one it was, but people were talking about shit that I just didn't remember, and I was like, where the fuck did that happen? So I've decided to rewatch it all, and it was better on the rewatch. So we'll get into that first, but obviously let's start where we always start. Finally, getting into the episode. I don't know what I was saying just there. Just I have a fully non like tainted opinion of Murder Drones to get into here after just not watching it. I'm after the same for Digital Circus, but I will get into why I had to rewatch it later on the line. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, let's just get into it. We always start with the animation and action. This is a very action-oriented show, even though it doesn't really seem like it. It was definitely it was advertised as a horror comedy, but I wouldn't really call it a horror comedy. I would mostly call it I would mostly call it uh, a an action comedy with some horror elements. Because what's really, I guess, the big focal point of the uh of the show is really about the fight scenes. Like, there's a big focus on with the animation about the fight scenes. There's a lot of fight scenes in the show. There are a few horror elements here, and there, but there's more action than horror. That's why I decided to put it here. The horror isn't bad, but it's just not the main focus. But talking about the animation is goddamn fantastic. I gotta say that this show, it did get better on. Like, obviously, the show aired through the span of 3 years. Like, they obviously got more people on board. They had better equipment all down the line. The show had glow up as each episode went on that wouldn't have happened if it followed Meta Runner style of completely going in a weekly by weekly basis. Uh, and that's a format, a week by week format, or a weekly episode format, which is what we do, trying to at least, like trying to do a three episode week by week format. We'll get into I won't get into why I'm not doing that. I'm fucking lazy, and I'm doing things randomly. So that's the big reason why episodes late. I hope to finally get them fucking out by this weekend. Just get everything out and just do things because I need to finally get my shit together. But anyways, enough fucking ranting about arbitrary things. The animation got better as it went on, and it definitely got to a certain point where it rivaled itself with the biggest productions in Hollywood. Like, I would say that Murder Drones, the final episode of Murder Drones, looks on par with Transformers 1, and Transformers 1 is fucking beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of animation. Like, it rivals itself with that level of animation, and that movie cost $775 million at least. And the episodes for Murder Drones cost around, I think they said it was $250,000 to $300,000. So yeah, no, I think it's an interesting. It's definitely interesting that they've gotten to this point and managed to really make their animation shine. I don't know why I said interesting. I think I want to say impressive. It's very impressive. It's a very impressive feat that they've managed to accomplish. But just making their animation just look so goddamn good. And their action is also very well choreographed, very well animated. I guess you could make the argument that everyone gets kind of lost in it, but I just don't really think so. I think you really get a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of cool things in here that you can appreciate with the animation. There's expressions here and there. There's they really use squash and stretch to the max, not to the max, but not the level of Amazing Digital Circus, but definitely Amazing Digital Circus, which definitely uses it to its highest degree. But it definitely still uses that to a certain degree, and it really not and it really uses the characters, like how the fact that the characters are robots, to express a lot of that a lot of cool things. What am I trying to say? They use it, they use that aspect to really make them expressive, make the animation look really cool and do things that you couldn't do with humans. It just looks good, and it's impressive that they've gotten to this point in the animation industry. And they're a pretty small studio. I don't know how many people work in Glitch. So no, I think the animation here is very, very good. I think that it's definitely a highlight of the show, and it definitely showed that Glitch improved a lot. And to be honest, I don't think that the vast improvement that the show went on after what do you call it, the vast improvement the show got during its last like episodes wouldn't have happened with its release schedule, which is I think the worst part about the show. I think the show definitely needed the week by week basis, the episode by week basis of Meta Runner. So yeah, let's get into the characters. I think the people what people really like about the show is the characters. So let's just get right into them. Uzi, obviously we're gonna start with Uzi, the main character, one of the main characters here. Uzi is an interesting character. She definitely has a lot of things about her, and I do really appreciate that that it's not taken too seriously that she's like an emo character. It's definitely part of the show's humor, and they do use that, and they also use a lot of emo culture to represent her and also make fun of her. And I do like that. I do really like that they use that part of a character for comedic reasons. But I also think that she's kind of she's not underdeveloped. It's just that the things that they did develop, it's just that the things that they didn't develop are very apparent. So something that the show makes clear in its like first episode is that Uzi wants to destroy the humans or something like that. Like she wants to do that, and that's not really explained. Yeah, so that doesn't really go anywhere. Really, just weird thing to mention there. But like, and there's also like the whole relationship with the absolute solver, which I think could have been developed more, and her like, and how dangerous it was to Uzi, because that wasn't really explained all that well. Mainly because I think the problem with that is just that the absolute solver was supposed to be this mysterious thing, so we didn't know what could happen to Uzi. I don't know, like I just think that a lot of the things that happened, like a lot of, like, Uzi's a well developed character, but there are things that are very apparently not developed about a character. If that makes any sense. And I think her relationship with N is fine. I think her relationship with N comes out of nowhere. At least in the third episode, like I felt like in the third episode, I remember when I was first watching it. I felt like it was kind of forced, mainly because the shippers were, honestly, at that point I've seen a lot of shipping of those two characters, and I was like, it felt like the show it was like pandering to those people, but maybe, I guess it was more them saying they were on the right track and they would end up together in the show. But honestly, I don't I don't know. I think Uzi's a fine enough character for the show, and I do like that she's just kind of this very like she knows all about like she uses a lot of internet terms, like at the last episode she says she's a damaged OC. That's kind of funny. I did like a lot of the jokes that they've had, like that she made, and also that she got poked fun at. And I think Uzi's a very interesting character, and also a very cool character. But yeah, no, I think I think that's all I gotta say about Uzi. Uzi doesn't have a lot, and she doesn't really interact with. Like, oh, and I think the big thing is that her mother's alive, at like in a certain point, and that doesn't really affect her all that much. Like she learns about that, but she it doesn't really affect her all that much in the latter episodes. So that's also a big gripe that she wanted to know. Like, she wanted, like, she had all this about her mother, and like this mystery about her mother, and it just kind of never went anywhere. That's more plotism than really like her part of the character. But I think she should have had a much stronger reaction to it. I think that's all I gotta say. So yeah. Next up is N, and N is also a very interesting character, I think. I think we've yet to talk about the most interesting character in the show, but I think N definitely is also a very interesting character. I think solely for the reason that he is fundamentally just a goofball, but definitely a very like like a very I guess well written goofball, and definitely like a very deeply has a lot of deep stuff around him. And I think that that's very interesting. It's a very interesting way to take a character. We do see him sort of be like this. I guess not really useless, like forgotten about murder drone. Uh, and he eventually learns a lot of stuff about his past and what he did and what he did to like humans and all that. And I think that's very interesting. But then again, I feel like again for same thing with Uzi, like her, like his version of and with Uzi also came even more of nowhere because we at least knew that Uzi had like a crush on N, I guess you could call it. But N's entire thing came out of nowhere. I feel like even with knowing even with episode 4, what happened with like him learn, I guess him learning what happened with Tessa. He doesn't really have much of a reaction to her when they first meet her, or with Sin. Really, I don't know. Wait, like that last part of with the episode, but I don't know. Like it's I think there's a lot of weird things about his character, but he's enjoyable. He's an enjoyable character. I do think that they have a lot of interesting things to work with him, but I don't think they really did. Not that they didn't work, it's just that they never really went in that direction. Like from what I remember. If they did, I didn't notice because a lot of things go really fast in the show, and I'll get to that later. But yeah, no. I think that's all I'm gonna say about N. Let's move on to I think what is the most interesting character in the show, V. So V is also a murder drone, but I think she's a lot more interesting than N and Uzi, mainly because she actually has sort of an arc where she is very antagonistic towards N. She's not very and Uzi, but she's mostly also trying to hide, not trying to hide, but like trying to find stuff about her and really being cynical about what the murderers really are. Like, no, what the fuck? That's not really doesn't make sense, but like being cynical about everything and wanting to learn how like what she really is, or like trying to hide from that fact. And like trying to get revenge on Sin for doing what that Saul did to them and all that. Like it's it's all a very interesting character, and like her learning to value people with Uzi and N. Like it's all a very interesting thing. I think she's the most well developed, mainly because she gets the time she needs, because she's a side character. Uh, her her role and her and her like really like plot relevance isn't that big, and like she doesn't need a lot of time to really develop, and I think that's in her favor. So yeah, no, I think V is a very interesting character that they did what they did what needed to be done with this character. They executed it well, and I think she is the best written of the protagonists, or at least like this being a deuteragonist or a tritogonist or whatever the fuck the tertiary main character is called. But yeah, I think V is definitely the best out of the trio, out of the main trio. just because she's just the best written one out of them all. She just has all the things needed to just be a very good side character. So that's all I really gotta say about her. So next up is Tessa slash Sin, aka the Absolute Solver, and also the main villain of the show. So it was kind of a big surprise to me to learn that Tessa wasn't actually alive. I wasn't expecting them to go in that direction. I think it was a very obvious direction looking back. Now, seeing she could not have possibly survived the manor, the explosion of Earth, and also like and then the manor being and the massacre of the manor, like that's all very non-survivable, and I think that it makes a lot more sense for her not to survive. But I did not expect Sin to be wearing the skin of a dead person. That's something I did not expect that to happen. And I think Sin's a very interesting character. I don't think it's Sin, more like the Absolute Solver, and I like that the Absolute Solver isn't really brought up all that much. It's not the Absolute Solver's origins and motivations aren't really the main focus of the show. It's more about the Absolute Solver's influence and now how that's affected the characters and all that, and how the characters live, pretty much. So yeah, that's really what Sin does, and I think the character does it all does it better. Like it just works more than it just works for a main villain, and you don't have to explain it all that much, because the Absolute Solver is an evil AI that came from somewhere. We don't know where, but it came from somewhere. So I think it does that job well, at least. So some other characters I can mention, I think the character, like the other characters that are friends with Uzi and V and all, I think they're all perfectly fine. They do their job well. Con Dorman, I think, could have used a little bit more development to really justify why he does things in the finale. The fact that, again, I think I mentioned Uzi, the fact that Nori is alive is also, I think, should have been explored a little bit more. But yeah, and Jay is an interesting. I think Jay is an interesting character. We don't really see much of her, but I don't know why she would ever side with Sin in the first place, or with the Absolute Solver. It just kind of seems like a really unnecessary thing to do, but I don't know. Like it just seemed weird to me, and I don't know why she would do that. But yeah, okay, let's talk about the plot. The plot is my biggest gripe with the show. That is like a cold hard fact. It is my biggest gripe with the show. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So the plot very much hinges on the mystery of the Absolute Solver and trying to find out not its origins, but definitely its origins within Uzi's past, and there's definitely a past there, and trying to find out what the murder drones are. And we learn that the murder drones were created by the Absolute Solver, or were worker drones created by humans, but that they were re-engineered into disassembly drones or murder drones by the Absolute Solver to kill our humans. That is just how it went. And that's very fine. That's very fine and dandy and all that. But the thing is that the plot of the show is very convoluted. There is a lot of blink and you'll miss it things about the show, information, little bits and pieces of lore that are very important for you to know what's going on, that just aren't explained all that well. Just and I think that's mostly a reason of the time constraints. Even though it had 3 years to really get its grip, I think that this show had a lot of things that were just rushed out, just because they only had enough time for or enough budget and for 8 episodes. So Liam Vickers really had to cram a lot of stuff in there to make the show work, and it just kind of left me with a sour taste in my mouth for the plot of the show, because when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Like I didn't understand it. I went to every episode not knowing what was going on because the show really hinges on you paying attention to every single last detail that you that is being fed to you from the show. Like you have to really pay attention to really know what's going on. And I think, and the thing is, it's just that all this information is like, sometimes put into one or two sentences within a scene, and that's it. It gets explained later on more, but the thing is that it sometimes it just isn't. Like sometimes, like for example, one that's burned into my mind is the fact that Tessa tells N that the Earth is just gone. It's just destroyed, just like left, because the absolute solver got there and destroyed it all. That is a very big focal point about the show, having Earth be destroyed, because that is what happens after the Elegant Manor scene, like the Manor massacre. That's what happens after that, and it's never brought up again. Earth is never brought up again. It just happened. Like Earth is gone and that's it. Nothing much that can be done about that. So, that's just a part of the thing that just kind of makes no sense to me. And the fact that like, what happens with like the absolute solver doesn't really explain that much. You really have to pay attention to that. What the murder notes even are isn't really explained. It's explained in that one like scene with like the Earth being destroyed. Like it's all very blinking and missing moments of exposition that really don't. It doesn't work if you're going into casually, not really paying attention to it. You will not know what's going on by the last episode unless you've really paid attention to the show, or even by the episode that comes afterwards, which builds on a lot of stuff there. But it just doesn't work. I think it doesn't really work with how the plot is structured and how the plot details are explained to you. Because it's a lot of show, it's a lot of tell. But the thing is, it's a lot of tell in the show. In the show. But the thing is that it tells you too fast, and you're not really able to process it before you're moving on to another scene. It has some other things that are going on. That's just how the show is structured, and I think it suffers from it. It really, really does. And I think that's just part of the fact that they were just 8 episodes, and they had to cram in all this lore that clearly needed more than that, and also have the love story, and also have the conclusion about the absolute solver. Like that just needed to all happen here, and I just think that it couldn't have happened. I think that this show needed at least 2 seasons, not at least, at most 2 seasons, at least 10 to 12 episodes. That is what the show needed to really find its footing and really show what the show could really become and really shine with just more time. Just more time. It is the same not the same pitfall, but definitely a similar issue that Hazbin Hotel ran into, where Hazbin Hotel is just kind of like has 8 episodes, but it barely does anything with the 8 episodes. Well, this one, it does do a lot with the 8 episodes, but it does too much to explain what's going on that it doesn't let it flow naturally. And that's a big problem with the show. And just also another thing is the show is very rushed. I think the ending is very rushed. The ending is like the last episode is 20 minutes, and it's all a big fight scene. And it just all happens all at once. Everything is resolved, and that's it. That's the end. And by the time that we get to episode 6, which is the second to last episode, I felt we were in the middle of the series. That's what it felt like. I felt like we were in the middle of the series with Dead End. Not the second to last episode. The third to last episode, episode 6. I thought we were like at the midpoint of the series. Like, I felt like we were at the midpoint of the series. We were actually at the third to last episode. And the next one I felt still wasn't the second to last episode. It felt like we were building up to the last two episodes. I don't know. Like it felt really weirdly paced, and also like they were rushing through things, and that's a very big detriment about the show. The show's plot is like very interesting and very good, and I feel like they did rush it in a way where it's still enjoyable, but it just feels like it's very convoluted and rushed, and just like it feels like things are like there's time that's missing. Like there's like episodes missing at some points. No, that's what it feels like. So yeah, overall the plot's a mess. Like the plot's okay. The plot isn't a mess. It's structured in a way where if you pay attention, you know what's going on. But the thing is how the plot gives that information is very convoluted, and there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of building up on things that is that are expressed in previous episodes that is also expressed in like blinking and missing moments. So all that keeps piling up to just you maybe if you miss one thing, you're lost for the rest of the episode, for the rest of the season. And with the rush, like the rush part of it, it just ends right there and there with almost no like resolution. And Doll, I forgot to talk about Doll. Doll's like the worst part about the series. Doll has like this interesting thing with like her mother also being part of like the absolute sorrow stuff, and she just dies, and we don't really get any closer to that character. I don't think. So yeah, just really weird, really weird. What the plot you've had. So yeah, talking about the future for this series, we did get a post-credit scene with like us knowing that the Absolute Solver is now part of Uzi. And she has some control over it. I think that could lead to somewhere, and they did say that these characters are gonna be showing up later on the line. I don't know if we'll be getting a sequel series. I don't think that's very likely. A lot of people are coming for season 2. I don't think we'll be getting season 2. I really don't. I don't think so. I think they're definitely gonna take a break from these characters and really have to do something else. And I think Glitch at least left it, told Liam to leave it open, just to, like, if he wants to come back and do a second season. But even if he did it, if he didn't, then it'd be a nice little way to wrap up the series. I don't know where they could go with the series. I don't really see like a real future for it. I can maybe see like I don't fucking know, like just a slice of life robot. I think, I guess, with the Absolute Solver maybe, or like a sequel series really focusing on where the Absolute Solver came from, or a prequel series explaining where the Absolute Solver came from. If they want to go in the direction, I wouldn't be mad if we got to learn more about the Absolute Solver, because it's a very mysterious part about the show. You know, I think the show does. I think the show doesn't really need a sequel, a prequel. I think it's fine as it is, but if they want to do something, I wouldn't really be opposed to it. So yeah. So putting it into the tier list, Murder Drones is getting a B tier. I think that it has a lot of strong things about it. I think it really does. I think Murder Drones really has a lot of strong things about it, and it's a good watch overall. But I think that the plot really hammers it down, and some of the characters hammers it down. But that's much more of the fact that the whole show was really rushed, and that's a really big part of it. But I still think it's it's a good show. I think it's a good watch. I think if you want to watch it, go watch it. If you don't, that's fine. You're not missing out on much. But yeah, what did you guys think about Murder Drones? Leave in the comments below. All our socials are in the description. Don't go on the Twitter one because I think that's still suspended. So yeah. And later, like next year, I think actually I will be finally getting around to reviewing Meta Runner. I know I said that I was gonna do that around the time of the Cyberpunk Edge Runners review, but I am officially going to be talking about Meta Runner next year, all 3 seasons, and then I'll talk about Sunset Paradise, and then I think we'll be all caught up with Glitch. until Amazing Ditto Circus ends. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.